Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Malicious Compliance. Our first post is by Icy Bison. You want at least 1,000 words. I can give you at least 1,000 words. My workplace has a mandatory 2-day orientation for new hires. When I was brought on, there were a bunch of scheduling issues, and the dates changed several times. I got confused and only attended one of the days as I didn't realize it was a 2-day event. About a month after getting hired, I get an email from HR. Hello, our records indicate you were not present for the first day of mandatory employee orientation. Here is the link to the event recording. Since you missed attending in person, you are additionally required to write a minimum 1,000-word reflection on the most impactful session. For some reason, the minimum 1,000-word requirement made me see red. I was a fully grown adult being treated like a high schooler, made to write lines on the board because I missed class. I could understand making me watch the orientation, even though I had been doing my job just fine for 4 weeks. But do something reasonable like some very specific, fill-in-the-blank questions just to prove I watched it. A 1,000-word minimum was just gratuitous. So I stewed over it for about a week. Then, one night after a few drinks, it hit me the only requirement was that it was at least 1,000 words, along with some specific questions. I reread the email and confirmed. They did not give any instructions on a maximum length, nor any instructions on formatting or content beyond those questions. I cracked open my laptop, found the longest presentation from the orientation, and got to work. I set about essentially writing a line-by-line transcript of a 50-minute presentation. I rambled for pages about anything from the signing of the Declaration of Independence to my favorite childhood camping trip. By the end of it, my magnum opus sprawled for an impressive 12 pages. I answered each of the required questions with a single sentence and buried them randomly throughout my pages of unhinged ranting. I then set the font size to 8, single-spaced it, and changed the font to Webdings to ensure that HR could not just change it back to readable font or reliably use Ctrl+F to find the questions. I also printed it, scanned it, and sent it as an image file. The next morning, I get an angry email from HR. Good morning. I am informing you that your submitted reflective essay is completely unacceptable. Please resubmit it as a Word document with size 12 times New Roman's font, double-spaced. Failure to do so will result in an immediate disciplinary meeting with the VP of HR. I simply replied, I apologize that I misunderstood your instructions. If you could please show me where in your original email you outlined the formatting requirements, then I will gladly resubmit it in the proper format. I've worked at this company for almost 2 years now. I have yet to even see the VP of HR, let alone have a disciplinary meeting with him/her. I recently ran into a brand new employee who also managed to miss his orientation. According to him, HR was very specific that his response was to be no more than 1,500 words in size 12 times New Roman font. Our next post is by Certain Macaroon. Baby's first malicious compliance. Alright, I was telling a friend this story and she pushed me to share, so I hope this counts. The year was 2000 and I was 9 years old. For context, I'm the oldest of 6. Mom was ready to pop out the 4th at the time, and it was a very hot July day. So my brother, 7 at the time, and I were fighting over a box of crackers on the kitchen counter. Why were we on the kitchen counter? Who knows, but I'm sure at the time, it seemed like a great place to fight over a box of Cheez-Its. So I'm trying to pull the box away from him, he's trying to pull the box away from me, and eventually he gets the grand idea to push me off the counter. I go tumbling and land hard on my right arm, and even though I was only 9, I'd already broken a leg, my other arm, and all of the toes in both my feet. I knew what a broken bone felt like, and I was positive that my arm was broken. The problem was I felt almost no pain due to a very high pain tolerance from my rough-and-tumble childhood. To this day, I have a stupidly high pain tolerance. So I know my arm is broken. I can't move it properly, I can't make a fist, and I can't use my fingers. So I go to my mom, who's trying to keep cool from both the weather and my second brother growing inside her, and say, "Mom, I need you to take me to the doctors. My arm is broken and I need a cast." Now, my mom would later become not so great, but at the time she was still a pretty okay mom. And looking back on it, I can't really blame her for not believing me at the time. So she shooed me away and said, "I don't want to hear anything about your arm. You're fine. Stop bothering me." Okay then, I'm a good daughter. I will not bother my mom about my arm anymore. The rest of the day goes by with me playing around with my broken arm. I'm holding it up with my other arm while watching TV. I'm holding onto the swing with one hand, and I'm trying to teach myself how to write with my left hand, because who knows how long it will take to heal a broken arm without a doctor. Finally, I have to go to my mom because I need to go to the bathroom, and I can't unbutton my jeans without both my hands. She's been getting more and more annoyed with me as she's watched me baby my arm all day, and she finally snaps at me, telling me that she'll take me to the doctor, but if my arm isn't broken, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. I agree, not too worried because I know my arm is broken, and we head to the hospital. The entire ride is spent with my mother coming up with more and more detailed threats. If we get to the doctors, they're going to give you a big shot. I hate needles, but again, I know my arm is hurt, so I insist we keep going. We finally get to the hospital, and the nurse says, "Oh, her arm isn't broken, but we'll give her an X-ray just to humor her." Guess what? A complete forearm break. Mom felt horrible and bought me pizza and candy, something we almost never got, and I didn't have to share any of it. So yeah, I don't know if this really counts as true malicious compliance, but I like to think of it as baby's first steps towards being the sarcastic lil shit I am today. Our next post is by Ha Elf Paragon. Don't want me to cold transfer pissed off customers to the manager? Okay then. I was a technician working in a lab. My job was to repair car parts for this third-party repair company. The company made such monumentally stupid decisions in a very short span that over 50% of the call center all quit within 3 days of each other. So, the company started dragging employees from other departments kicking and screaming into the call center. Every day, I'd walk in and ask the building manager, "What's up today? Am I doing my job, or am I answering phones?" And he'd sigh and say, "Answering phones." Well, I quickly learned what made a lot of the call center quit. You see, at this company, we had a really good warranty policy. Lifetime warranty on the part, regardless of who owns it at any given time. If it has our sticker on it and the sticker hasn't been defaced, we will service it for free. If you aren't happy with the quality, you can ask for a refund if you were the original person who sent it in for work in the first place. Well, it turned out we were losing money because when stuff would come in for warranty repair, some of the salespeople would grab it, rip our sticker off, throw it in the junk pile, and call the customer saying we couldn't fix it, but we have a perfectly good one here that they can sell at a discount. They did this so much that customers started just asking for refunds instead. We got so many refund requests that the building manager told the call center that we would not be honoring the warranty anymore. But not to tell the customers that. Lead them on. When they ask for a refund, tell them it's being processed and will take up to 6 weeks. 6 weeks from now, when they call asking where their refund was, tell them it was in the wrong stack of paperwork, or there was an error at the bank, whatever excuse you can think of, and tell them it'll be another 6 weeks. Keep doing this until they stop calling. Well, the call center revolted. More than half quit. When I found out this is what happened, I told them they don't want me on the phones because I will not lie to customers. Building manager said tough stuff. Till they can hire more people for phones, I'm stuck there. So, when someone called, pissed off that they haven't received their refund, I profusely apologized, let them know I'm sure there is a good explanation, let me get you a manager, and I cold transferred them to the building manager. He'd come back to his desk, find like 30 people on hold in his queue. He got pissed, told me to stop cold transferring people. So, I stopped cold transferring people. Every 3 or 4 minutes, I'd let a new customer know I can get them the manager. I'd transfer them, get up, walk over to the manager's office, and tell the manager, "Hey, so-and-so from X company is on your line. Pissed off that you're refusing to give them a refund. Have fun." Eventually, I got pulled into a meeting with him and the CFO, and was told in no uncertain terms that if I continued to do so, I would be fired. I reminded them that the only reason this is happening in the first place is because A, they came up with this crappy plan in the first place, B, they're making me answer phones instead of doing my job, and C, they can't keep anyone because whenever they hired someone new, the rest of us would fill them in on what's happening, and they would subsequently quit after their first day. In the end, I found a better job and quit that hellhole, and on my last day, filed a complaint with OSHA, filling them in on all the illegal, dangerous stuff they'd make us do in the lab. In the comments below, Baby asks, "What happened with OSHA?" OP responds, $24,000 fine, then another $10K monthly fine until they fixed all the problems. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.